After I made dinner for everyone, my husband's mother took one bite and spit it out. Tastes like failure and desperation. His brother shoved his plate away, saying, "Even strays eat better." I cleaned the table in silence. Then I sent a message to someone from their past, someone they'd buried with lies. Now they're texting me, begging me not to answer back. I was up before the sun, quietly stepping out of bed so I wouldn't wake my husband. I didn't want him to see the nerves in my face. I had been planning this dinner for 2 weeks, trying to find the right recipes, the right ingredients, the right excuse to bring everyone together. It wasn't a holiday or a birthday. I just wanted them to feel welcome in our home. I wanted to prove, maybe more to myself than to them, that I could belong in their world, that I was enough. I made his mother's favorite lamb roast, the one she used to talk about from her childhood, with garlic and rosemary, slow cooked until it was tender. I made 3 sides, all from scratch. No shortcuts. Even the pie was homemade. His brother once said cherry was his weakness, so I made sure the crust was buttery and the filling was fresh, not from a can. I even ironed the tablecloth, lit candles, cleaned the baseboards. I was stupid enough to think the details might matter. They arrived late, of course. No apology. His mother walked in like she owned the place, looking around with that tight smile she always wore when she was silently judging. His brother made a comment about the neighborhood, how quaint it looked. My husband just followed them in, hands in his pockets, eyes on the floor like he didn't want to be involved. I ignored the tone. I told myself it didn't matter. I smiled, offered drinks, took coats. I pulled the roast from the oven at the exact time I'd planned, everything hot and fresh. I even remembered not to put onions in the potatoes because his mother once said they upset her stomach. We sat at the table. I served their plates. It was quiet for a moment, and then it happened. She took one bite, chewed once, and spit it back onto her napkin. Then she looked me dead in the face and said, "Tastes like failure and desperation." No one laughed. But no one defended me either. My husband looked down at his plate. His brother shook his head and pushed his plate away without even tasting it. "Even strays eat better than this," he said. Loud. Cruel. Deliberate. I just stood there. My hands still smelled like butter and thyme. My apron was damp with sweat. I wanted to disappear into the floor. I cleared the table without a word. Nobody offered to help. They didn't say, "Thank you." They just talked amongst themselves about a new vacation, a new car, some coworker they all hated. I was invisible again, like I always was around them. That night, after everyone left and my husband went upstairs without saying anything, I stood in the kitchen and stared at the pile of dirty dishes. I could still hear his mother's words echoing in my head. "Tastes like failure." No. I wasn't the one who failed. I washed the plates, one by one. I scrubbed the pots until my fingers hurt. But my mind wasn't in that kitchen anymore. It was somewhere else. Back in the quiet conversations I'd overheard, the strange things that didn't add up, the woman they never talked about. They used to mention her in whispers. An ex. A mistake. A crazy person who had caused too much drama. They made it sound like she didn't matter, like she was a stain they had scrubbed out. But I remembered her name. I had always remembered. I dried my hands, walked to the living room, and picked up my phone. I sat on the edge of the couch, staring at her name in my search results for a long time. Then I found her. She hadn't posted much. Her last photo was from 2 years ago. She looked older, quieter, but her eyes, there was something in them that felt familiar, like she had swallowed the same silence I had just tasted. I sent a message. Just a few lines. Not angry. Not demanding. Just the truth. "Hi. You don't know me, but I think you might know them. I need to understand what really happened. I think we both deserve that." She responded 6 minutes later. Finally. Someone who isn't afraid to ask. Now my phone won't stop buzzing. My husband. His brother. Even their mother. One after another. "What did you do?" "Don't talk to her. She's lying. This could ruin everything." And then, "Please don't respond to her again." But they're too late. I already did. And what she told me, that's the part that changes everything. But I'm not ready to say it out loud.
Not yet.
The first real lie I uncovered was small.
It was a name.
She told me his brother had gone by a different name when they were together, his middle name. Said he didn't want people from his past knowing who he really was. Back then, she believed him. Thought he was hiding from a bad relationship, maybe a debt. But now she sees it was the start of something darker. A man rewriting himself from scratch. Cleaning his history like dirty glass. She sent me screenshots. Old messages. Photos. I saw his face in them. Smiling, younger, but unmistakably him. Arm wrapped around her. Kissing her cheek. Telling her he loved her. Calling her his forever. All the things he now denies ever saying. Then came the voice memos. Her voice, shaking. His, louder.
Cold.
Calling her names I had never even heard him use. Telling her to stay quiet and stop ruining things. That nobody would believe her anyway. I listened to them all in one sitting. Then I went upstairs and sat on the edge of our bed. He was already asleep. Peaceful. Like he had nothing in the world to worry about. I stared at him for a long time. I realized I didn't know the man next to me. I didn't know his family either. But I would. The next morning I was different. I wasn't sure if it showed yet, but inside, something had shifted. At breakfast, I made coffee just the way he liked it, just like I always did. I placed it in front of him and smiled. He looked up, confused for a second, maybe even suspicious. But he didn't say anything. Later I asked about her. I used her name.
Direct.
He froze. His hand stopped midair. Then he said something like, "Oh, her?" She was obsessed. Delusional. We tried to help, but she wouldn't listen. He didn't meet my eyes. I didn't push, not yet. But that night, I started going through the attic. Pulling down boxes. Old papers. I found an envelope full of legal documents. Letters with dates, court filings, a restraining order. But not against her. It was the opposite. She had filed it. Against them. All three of them. My husband. His brother. Their mother. Suddenly, everything felt different. They hadn't erased her because she was unstable. They erased her because she knew too much. The next family dinner came faster than I expected. His mother wanted another gathering, a proper one, she said over the phone. With real food this time. I told her that sounded wonderful. I made lasagna. It was her least favorite dish. She was allergic to something in the tomatoes, but she always insisted on pretending it didn't bother her. She'd try to eat it anyway, then complain about it for days. I served it with garlic bread and a salad soaked in the one dressing she hated, balsamic. I watched her eat in silence, lips thin, hands shaking slightly. Nobody said a word about the food this time. Not a single insult. Because now I had something they didn't. I had the truth. And I had her. The woman they tried to silence was done hiding. She told me there were journals, recordings, emails, proof of everything, what they said, what they did, who they hurt, and why they made her disappear. They didn't just lie. They destroyed her. And now they were watching it all unravel, piece by piece, in my eyes.
My husband looked at me differently that night.
I think he knew. He touched my hand under the table. I didn't move. Then he said, quietly, "She's manipulating you. Don't believe her. She always does this." I leaned in, smiled a little. "Then why are you so scared?" He didn't answer. They've started calling her again. After years of silence. Trying to threaten her, or maybe beg, depending on the hour. But she's not afraid anymore.
And neither am I.
They spent years pretending she didn't exist. Now she's the one they're all thinking about when they lie awake at night. And I'm the one helping her remember every detail. Because this time, they won't bury the truth. Not again. 3 days later, I came home to find our bedroom drawers open. Nothing missing. But everything had been touched. He said he was looking for his passport. Said it with that lazy smile, the one he used when he wanted me to feel silly for asking questions. I nodded. But I knew. He was looking for the files. The ones I printed and hid in the lining of my old suitcase. The one I never used because it reminded me of a trip we never took. I'd made copies of everything she sent me. Letters, court papers, the voice memos, the photos with dates and locations. And one thing she never told me until now, a police report, filed the night she left. She had gone to the station shaking, terrified, begging them to take her seriously. Said she'd been followed. Said someone had been in her apartment. Left something on her bed. A single earring. Hers, but twisted and bent like someone had crushed it with a boot. The report was closed within 48 hours. Insufficient evidence. Signed by a man with the same last name as my husband's cousin. That was the first twist. This went deeper than just the three of them. I started visiting her. We met at a cafe on the edge of town. She looked older than her pictures, more tired, but also sharper. Like a blade that had been left in the fire too long. She had a habit of looking over her shoulder every few minutes. Said it was nothing, but I could tell it wasn't. She gave me a flash drive. Told me not to open it unless something happened to her. That's when I realized something else. She didn't trust anyone. Not even me, not really. But she wanted the truth out, whatever the cost. Another twist came on a Wednesday. His brother showed up at my door alone. Unannounced. He didn't even knock, just walked in like he owned the place. Said he needed to talk. I told him my husband wasn't home. He said, "Good. I came to see you." I stood in the doorway to the kitchen. Didn't offer him a drink. Just waited. He said I needed to stop whatever I was doing. That I didn't understand how much I was putting at risk. He said it like a warning, but there was fear behind his words. Real fear. Then he added something I didn't expect. She's not innocent either, you know. She played her part. I asked what he meant. He looked at me for a long time, then said, she knew things. About our family. About what we were into. She used it to keep herself safe, until she pushed too far. Then he left.
Just like that.
No more answers. No details.
But I kept thinking about it.
What were they into? Not just lies. Not just a family protecting itself. Something more. Later that night, I searched our garage. Not for clues, just to clear my head. That's when I found the storage box. Tucked behind paint cans, inside a sealed plastic container. Marked as tools. But when I opened it, it wasn't tools. It was letters. Old letters. All from a woman with shaky handwriting. They weren't from her. They were from someone else. A woman named Eileen. She signed every letter the same way. I forgive you. I'll always forgive you. They were written to my husband's father. The man who died years ago. The one they said was a saint. Only the last letter was dated 5 years after his death. And it was mailed from a hospital. A mental hospital. Not far from where the woman I'm helping used to live. I checked the postmark. It was real. That's when the second twist hit me. He wasn't dead. Or, if he was, he hadn't died when they said he did. They lied about him too. Just like they lied about everything else. Now I'm holding secrets I don't fully understand. The woman they tried to erase is no longer the only one with ghosts. Their whole family is built on something rotten. And whatever it is, they buried it deep. But it's starting to surface. And they're getting desperate. They keep texting. Calling. My husband started watching me like he doesn't trust me. He's quieter. Colder. Like he's waiting for something to happen.
So am I.
Because I know now. This isn't just about dinner. This isn't just about her. This is about everything they thought they could hide. And what happens when someone finally looks too closely? The next week, I made a decision. No more waiting. I sat down at my small kitchen table, the one where I'd served them so many meals, where I'd sat alone so many nights cleaning up after their mess, and I started making calls. Sending emails. Quiet, careful ones. To a reporter. To a lawyer. To someone at the hospital where Eileen had sent those letters. I didn't give them everything. Just enough to get questions started. A whisper, a spark. I didn't need to scream.
Not yet.
I just needed them to start looking. And they did. The reporter called back 2 days later. Said the story might be bigger than they thought. Said they'd found old lawsuits sealed by the family. Said the father wasn't listed as dead in any official record, not until 3 years after his supposed funeral. The lawyer called next. Said the restraining order the woman filed had been suppressed illegally. Said someone in the court clerk's office had connections to my husband's uncle. It wasn't just lies. It was a cover-up. A long one. Then the hospital. They confirmed Eileen had been a patient, and that she died 2 years ago. But they also said something else. That she used to get visits from a man every Sunday. A quiet man. Said his name was Michael. That's my husband's father's name. He had been alive. He had been hidden. And someone wanted him to stay that way. I didn't go to my husband right away. I went to her. The woman they erased. I told her everything. And when I finished, she didn't cry. She just said, "Good. Let's bury them." We didn't make threats. We didn't post anything online. We sent out one envelope each. Handwritten. Sealed with a single line on the inside. "I know what you did.
So, do others now."
We sent one to the local paper. One to the police department. One to the hospital board. One to the old judge who had signed the sealed court documents. And then one more. To the mother. Inside hers, I placed a photo. One she thought had been burned. It showed her and my husband's father, arguing on the front porch. He was bleeding. She had a golf club in her hand. Her mouth was open mid-shout. The date stamp was from the year he was supposed to be dead. We'd found it in a file she missed. The woman had kept it hidden, scared for years. But not anymore. The unraveling happened slow at first. Whispers. Questions. Emails that stopped getting returned. Then came the storm. The newspaper ran a story. Local family tied to disappearance and institutional scandal. It wasn't just about the woman anymore. It was about all of it. The fake death, the buried court records, the illegal sealing of evidence, the threats. The hospital launched an internal investigation. The police reopened the case. The mother's photo was leaked. Then the reporter released the recordings. My husband's voice, threatening the woman, calling her unstable, telling her to stay quiet or regret it. It played on the evening news. Their world collapsed. The mother was forced to step down from her charity board. Her face was removed from the website. She issued a public statement denying everything, then went silent. The brother lost his job. His company didn't want to be associated with someone under investigation for obstruction of justice and harassment. My husband was the last to fall. He was fired.
Quietly.
No statement. But I found the letter from HR. Credibility concerns. That night, he came home shaking. Said, "You did this." I looked him in the eye.
No.
"You did this. I just stopped protecting it."
He cried.
Actually cried. For himself. Not for me. Not for her. For the life he built on someone else's pain. Then he begged. Told me we could fix it. I said nothing. I picked up my bag and left. I moved into a small apartment across town. Quiet.
Clean. Meaning.
She visits sometimes. We sit on the balcony and talk about simple things now. Not the past. Not the pain. Just the sky or the way the breeze feels. One day, she handed me the flash drive back. "You never needed this," she said. "You were enough." But I kept it. Not as a threat. As a reminder of what happens when silence ends. And my husband? Last I heard, he left town. Rumor is he's living with a friend in another state, trying to find work, trying to rebuild.
Good.
Let him start from scratch. Let him taste the same shame he once served to others. They all thought they could rewrite the story, erase the names, the pain, the people. But they forgot one thing. The truth doesn't go away. It just waits. And sometimes, it waits for someone like me. Someone quiet. Someone obedient. Someone who's had enough. And when she speaks, no one forgets what she says. Ever again.